This is hands down gonna be one of the dumbest intros that I've ever recorded for a WWMJ. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun 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 dun. It's my diction. Dun 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 dun. Cheap keyboards. Dun 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 dun. I can't get away no matter how hard I try. Dun 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 dun. Okay, Druaga did that joke better than I ever could, so first order of business, let's get the camera right side up again. And let's continue the cheap keyboard palooza.
Epic fail. The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
For years, I have seen these things floating around the 9 to 5, and I've recommended them as cheap replacements for OEM keyboards. But it's about time I picked one of these darn things up. It's not like it's that expensive anyways, it's chump change. Ladies and gentlemen, the final entry in my cheap keyboard palooza whatever, for now at least, is the Logitech K120. This keyboard is under $20 US, and it is synonymous with cheap keyboard across the board. If cheap keyboard had an entry in the dictionary, there'd be one of these in there. Because, well, actually, I think compared to if some of the OEM keyboards out there, like if there's HP computers that come with this springy disaster of a keyboard, I actually think a K120 would be an upgrade, basically. This is the Logitech answer to the Microsoft keyboards in this price range that I traditionally use. But it lacks some of the features. There's no volume control or anything like that, so that kind of rules it out of being any kind of primary keyboard for me. And of course, the calculator button. Gotta have a calculator button. Hey, if Windows supports it, why not? But yeah, anyway, so this is a basic ANSI standard 104 key keyboard, I think? Yeah, something like that. It's the regular kind. I have to specify because there's some terminal keyboards out there with extra function keys that were made for like old IBM systems and are still in use, so I deal with some of those at the 9 to 5. But anyways, yeah, this is the Logitech K120. Now, if people make fun of Rubberdome keyboards, they often make fun of one of these things. But for under, I mean, these used to be $16 5 years ago. The price has dropped. They're now closer to the $10 mark. I can find these all over the place for like $13.50. So what do you get for such a cheap piece of junk? Well, what do you get for, you know, in a keyboard that cheap? Well, you get a K120. So it's obviously, it's plastic. Everything is plastic. And I've traditionally associated Logitech plastic as being cheaper than Microsoft plastic. So often you'll go play with a Logitech keyboard in the stores and the plastic will feel thinner than Microsoft keyboards and the like. Actually, this has thin plastic too, but this also has rubber that's so spring-loaded, it's a total disaster to use most of the time because it's like your fingers are getting vaulted up when you don't exert max pressure on them. They're like trampolines for your fingertips. This, however, feels a lot better, even for a Rubberdome keyboard. It is still going to be soft, and that's actually one of the selling points. Let's grab the box since we actually still have it. But it's going to be soft, quiet typing, which is basically what Rubberdomes are all about. And that's their one real strength here when it comes to how they stack up versus mechanicals. Although very interestingly enough, a couple of steps up from this, the Logitech Wave keyboards. Actually, I was playing with some store demos of mechanical and membrane keyboards in the stores, and there were actually Logitech Wave keyboards that felt better and closer to a mechanical keyboard than actual mechanical keyboards. There was a really worn out Logitech mechanical keyboard around the $100 mark, whose keys were actually about as mushy as a Rubberdome. I think this thing probably has snappier keys than that thing does, and that thing's mechanical. So it is possible for there to be enough wear and tear, or should I say abuse, of mechanical keyboards to negate one of the improvements of mechanical over membrane. But if you're gonna buy membranes and Rubberdomes, you should get either the low-end Logitech or a low-end Microsoft. In this case, though, we've already talked about the Microsoft Wired 600. Let's take a look at the box here and see what these folks are bragging about in multiple languages. Yeah. Une frappe comfort. Oh, is that Spanish? I don't know, anyways. Feel good typing. You'll be comfortable with this keyboard thanks to its low-profile, whisper-quiet keys and standard layout with full-size F keys and number pad. Rugged good looks. I don't know if I'd call that rugged or not, but this does actually feel less cheap than the ones I've seen in years gone by. This is the Windows 8 and 10 revision of it. The Windows 7 one was awful. I can tell you that much. The plastic was definitely thinner on that than it is on these right now. But other than that, the design hasn't really changed. But it's interesting that the price has gone down and the build quality has gone up. Rugged good looks. With its thin profile that keeps your hands in a more neutral position, spill-resistant design, durable keys that can withstand up to 10 million keystrokes, and sturdy adjustable tilt legs, this sleek keyboard not only looks and feels good, it's built to last. Plug and play, because there's no software to install, an easy read, big letters, no gamer font or anything like that. Reliability you can trust. Add a little power to everything you touch. So yeah, it's basically your bottom barrel keyboard. This has been at the bottom of the totem pole for years, but it doesn't feel all that bad. Actually, I think this is less mushier than some of the really bad OEM keyboards that I've seen coming with some systems nowadays. I could always compare it to a chiclet keyboard or something like that. But basically, the Microsoft ones, when you first get one of the Microsofts, they're very soft, totally like typing on cotton. This thing, of course, is trampolines for your fingertips. This is somewhere in the middle. Now, let's get some, like, keyboard noise and stuff like that. So, let's just get that out of there, get that out of there. Heck, I won't even need a buzz cut for this. Ready. Just hitting some stuff on the home row. Not much to it, now is there? Now, let's hook it up and play some Guild Wars 2 with it. It's camcorder Let's Play time! So, let's see here. If I am... Looks like I can hold down 2 buttons, jam the spacebar, but I hit the key limit if I'm doing lots of jumping. Let's try... Yep. That's the key limit right there. So basically you can't do anything too fancy. Then again, if you're jamming 4 buttons at once, I don't know. Nice keyboard test. The interesting part with this Logitech is that there actually is, if I turn the volume down, manually of course, because there's no volume controls on the keyboard, if we actually listen to the noise, freeze! I gotta figure out what that is. I probably gotta do a driver cleaner or something and clean up some old graphics drivers. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. Or it's something running in the background. But just basic, nice, quiet gaming. Things like that. It's not click-clack, click-clack. I was actually playing around with a Razer keyboard with one of the store demos today when I was going to get this. Actually, no, I was going to get some storm supplies for the snowstorm that's coming up tomorrow. And I basically found one of those really like $110 Razer gaming keyboards. Mechanical, of course. And it was click-clacking like an old IBM typewriter or something like that. I don't really associate that with PC gaming too much. Especially, again, the whole thing with controllers. You know, controllers run off of Rubberdome, so why is it no problem for controllers to be rubber-domed, but it's the end of the world if your keyboard runs off of the exact same technology. But there's less creaking with the plastic. I gotta figure out what's causing these random stops like that. Maybe it's time to do some driver cleanup or something on the graphics card. But yeah, there's some like pressing noise. Of course, I have the wire getting in the way because I don't have it there. Throw it around that way. So there's some noise from hitting the buttons, but you don't have the kind of plastic creaking like you have with the Microsoft one. And of course, your fingers aren't getting vaulted into the air like with that HP one that I had earlier. And so once you bring the sounds of the game back into play, then basically, it's just, you hear the game. You don't hear click, 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 clack, 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 or anything of that sort. But it does look like maybe this thing is actually missing the ability to hit lots of buttons at once versus some of the other keyboards. But most of the games I play with a keyboard, I won't be pulling off moves that require like 5 or 6 keys to be pressed at once anyways. So, okay. I think we'll coincide with the music stopping here, and have a nice little finale with the K120. Oh, that totally ruined it. Yay! So where do we go from here? Well, I like how this one feels, even though it is basically a cheap keyboard in many respects. It's less soft, though, than the Microsoft one was when it was new, so it might be a little bit easier to break in. I just want to see how this one ages versus the Microsoft one, but that's what I said about this HP one as well, so I really don't know at this point. I'm going to have to just take these over and throw them in a drawer or something, and when I want to swap out keyboards, just do so and see what happens when this one, as well as this one, finally break in. The old Microsoft one underneath, though, can stay here in the project area. Righto, that's enough playing around with cheap keyboards for now, because I don't think there's any cheap keyboards left out there, unless I get like some chiclet one or something like that, but how many keyboards do I really need? Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.